Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Dave Herndon.
I'm Dave Comer, and we're reviewing another comic. We're staying within the Before Watchmen series. This time it's Night Owl. It's number 1 by J. Michael Straczynski. You might know him of Babylon 5 fame, in addition to multiple comics, and he's written a million things, and most of them great. Andy Kubert and Joe Kubert. Joe Kubert, of course, iconic artist. You know, they combined with the art. I think Joe does the inking, and his son is Andy, who did the illustrations. And this is the Night Owl. So, not to be confused with the first Night Owl. This is Night Owl 2.0, so to speak.
This is the Night Owl from the comic.
Right. This is from Watchmen, not from the Minutemen. Although Gray, what's his name? The first Night Owl.
I'm sure you're going to put me on the spot now. I remembered it the last time we did these.
I know. Well, anyways, he's prominently featured, and it's a bit of an origin story. Dave, what'd you think?
Well, it was obviously not nearly as bad as the last couple we've picked up. I hated the comedian. I despised the Silk Spectre.
You hated the comedian. This is more of a... Okay.
The book.
I know. This is more of a retroactive...
This one had a good story.
Did you give that like a B or B minus?
I don't remember.
Is that Gray Mason? Or his last name?
Hollis Mason.
Hollis Mason.
And Dan Dryberg's the current Night Owl.
Yes.
I was trying not to make you look bad by coming up with the name too quick.
Thank you. Anyways, so, yeah, you were saying the quality's fallen off a little? I think it comes back with this one,
It starts to pick back up with the Night Owl. First of all, I love Straczynski's writing. I'm a big fan of Babylon 5, all the way from back in the day when I first started watching it about 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I wasn't quite old enough to get it when it was on. My parents didn't watch it, whatever. But I picked up the DVDs and I loved it. I watched all 5 seasons in the course of one summer.
Wow. Thought you were going to say one weekend. Yeah, J. Michael Straczynski is pretty awesome. And I don't know if I had one criticism of this book. What's kind of nice is it does go into the origin of Dan Dryberg's Night Owl. It does talk a little bit about him and Hollis Mason. But for me, what really drew me in a little more was I wanted to see more of Hollis Mason and just the transitional period. They cover that in about 3 pages or maybe 4 tops. I was really more interested in kind of the Daniel-son Miyagi relationship. And instead, what we ended up getting was more of a buddy comic between Rorschach and Night Owl. I was a little less impressed. I mean, there's going to be a Rorschach issue eventually anyways. And they have a great dynamic, and it's an interesting, they're total odd couple, and I really enjoy the two of them together, but, maybe not for issue number 1, and I don't know.
And with that same thing, that leaves me a little bit confused. I'm kind of confused why they each got their own limited series to begin with.
Right.
You could have put out single one-shot issues for each of them,
right,
and then had a combined series because the two characters do work together before Watchmen.
Right.
So you easily could have had one series that dealt with the two of their relationship. And, obviously we don't know where the Rorschach comic's going to go. It could be maybe before this even.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go. But I do think it's weird to have Rorschach featured in about probably a good third of this book. And it's obvious that over the course of this is 1 of 4, over the course of the next 3 issues, the story is going to be about him and Rorschach's relationship.
Right. Yeah, it is kind of odd. It's kind of the bromance of Before Watchmen. And like I said, I was more interested in just the evolution of the second Night Owl, the transition from the previous Night Owl, and so, excuse me, technical difficulty. And so I was really, that kind of let me down a little. But again, the writing is really phenomenal.
And once again, I love the cover. It's just so fitting. It's just, Night Owl sitting on a chimney way up above the, I don't know, is that New York? Is it Chicago?
Yeah, it's, basically a city. Did they ever say the city? That's an unnamed city that Watchmen occurs in, isn't it?
Right. That's
right.
I don't. They might have specifically. That's one tiny detail I never really paid attention to, I guess. But either way, I just love this cover.
Yep, it's pretty quality. Now, personal admission, Joe Kubert is a legend. I know he had an illustration school for a while that I know produced a lot of talent, and I know he's been very influential as an artist. But personal mea culpa, I hate him as an artist. True story. Cannot stand him. He's one of the messiest artists ever.
So you're not a fan of the artwork?
No, I'm not saying that. His son, however, I think is better than him in spades. You can still see a little bit of the... I've always found Joe to be a little messy in his art. They almost always looks like conceptual sketches that just happen to be in frames and inked. But I see a little trace of that. You can see some subtle influences, but really I think his son, Andy, is
loved this page.
Beautiful. I really think he's almost got the best traits of Joe without any of the negative or the bad aftertaste, so to speak. I really think it's the best of both worlds. He's quite an artist in his own right. I thought the art in this was great. I think Joe is a tremendous inker. Again, this is not to poo-poo the influence that Joe's had, and obviously I draw stick figures, so God bless Joe for being a great artist, but in his own right, in his own way, not for my personal preference. But Andy Kubert knocked it out of the park. I thought it was a great looking book, and obviously the writing's great. But for me, storyline kind of left me down a little, so I'm kind of grading it on
just a smidge.
B minus for me.
That's right where I was going to go with it. And it's solid all the way around, but it's not outstanding in any one dimension.
And first 8 pages, I was loving it. First 7 pages, and then Rorschach shows up, and you're kind of getting mixed signals. So.
And again, I'll give Straczynski
he deserves a pass.
The benefit of the doubt,
so
and
we'll be checking out the next 3 issues.
Definitely be checking out the next issue.
It's 1 of 4,
and it's definitely better than at least half of the series that come out to date. But that's not saying a whole lot.
It's been mixed quality, and apparently sales have been kind of weak. So, but Night Owl, if you're fans of J. Michael Straczynski, please check it out. If you're just a casual fan, you might want to flip through it at the store and then make your decision.
And if you haven't made a decision, remember this: Night Owl is the Batman of the Watchmen community.